Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this is a series I like to call Lore Out of Context, where we take a little bit of Dream SMP lore, pick it apart, and then put it back together within the context of the overall Dream SMP. It has been a long time coming, but finally we have some confirmation that a Season 2 has been confirmed for the Dream SMP, so let's get into that. And then a little bit later we're going to talk about the character Ghostbur, and how I may or may not have found a plot hole within the Dream SMP, but you're gonna have to stick around to figure that out. Until then, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more if you're interested. Make sure to keep your notifications on to be sure the second I upload. Now let's get into it. So, as I mentioned, Season 2 has been confirmed for the Dream SMP. Now, there has been a little bit of discourse online, particularly on Twitter, about whether or not to call it Season 2 or Volume 2, because the content creators themselves in the past have referred to different arcs within the Dream SMP as different seasons, but the content creators themselves have designated Season 1 of the Dream SMP from its creation up until this point, I guess, and this next part will be Season 2 and not Volume 2, the way that the massives have deemed it. So from here on out, that's Season 2, it's coming soon, and that's just what it is. Couple things to note about Season 2. Number one, everybody, according to some of the content creators, has been confirmed to be a part of Season 2 that was a part of Season 1. Now, by everybody, I mean most of the people who were involved within the general lore of Season 1, storyline-wise. However, I'm not sure about people who were a part of it that are no longer in the Dream SMP, specifically Schlatt and Alyssa, who doesn't even have the IP for the server anymore. But we'll just have to wait and see. We do know that multiple content creators have mentioned finishing up current arcs or storylines for the Dream SMP, specifically with Quackity, who has been teasing a finale for his Las Nevadas arc on Twitter, and also Bad Boy Halo and Awesome Dude with the Sam Bucket and Eggpire streams. So these have been confirmed to finish up before the new season begins. We know that there is going to be some sort of finale, and then Season 2 is supposed to start at some point in September. We don't have an official date for that yet, but there is a set date for the content creators. We just haven't been informed of it by the masses. We do have a little bit of a leak from Tommy saying that the next 2 weeks are going to be very critical. So that could be the finale, that could be just streams in general. We do know there are a couple people finishing up their overall character arcs, like Wilbur and Tommy. So these next 2 weeks are very crucial, and it could be after the 2 weeks that these streams happen. It could be during the 2 weeks. We don't really know, but we do know that September is going to be a mega month for the Dream SMP, and I'm very excited about that. With that being said, for Season 2, we have one bit of information besides the general start date, and that is that there's apparently going to be activity requirements for the content creators. No further information as to what this actually means, if it means just generically streaming on the server, if it means just being on the server, or if it means following through with the lore and storyline on the server. We don't really know, but Dream himself has said that there is going to be an activity requirement, which is kind of nice because that also means that we're more than likely going to get content, regardless if it's lore-wise or not. And one last piece of information about Season 2 is that we know that this is allowing us to reevaluate some character relationships. We know that it is allowing the current history of the Dream SMP to exist while reinventing some new story. That's about as much as we have gotten about what's going to happen in Season 2. And until then, we really are going to have to wait and see about what happens. However, there is a character whose arc is finishing with the end of Season 1, and they've said a couple things about a secondary character that don't make a lot of sense. So let's talk about Wilbur and Ghostbur. So a while back, Wilbur posted a Reddit thread about character Ghostbur and where he's at right now, what he's doing, how he's existing, and that sort of thing. Originally, he said that Ghostbur was suffering in Limbo, the same Limbo that Wilbur had been in before he was canonically revived. Spoiler alert, sorry. When Dream came to revive Wilbur, they basically just swapped places, because Ghostbur was a character that appeared on the SMP after Wilbur died canonically, and they just swapped back when he was canonically revived. However, I would like to point out specifically what he says in the Reddit post and why I don't think that is fully true anymore. Let me just read it out to you for a quick second. So, Wilbur writes, Ghostbur isn't dead, Ghostbur is suspended. He never had a living body and never will, but to say he's dead is a misrepresentation. Ghostbur is as close to a torturous limbo as he can possibly get. Now, this would have been perfectly fine on its own, depressing AF for sure, because it's Wilbur, and so when you're writing lore with angst, go big or go home. But the problem is, based on what he writes in the rest of the post, it kind of contradicts this first bit. He goes on to say, a new addition to Ghostbur's horrific experience is the slow burning of his memory. As time elapses, he seems to lose track of his good memories as well as the bad ones he forgot long ago. Only a few remain, and he goes to list the smell of baked bread, sparring with Techno as a child, the crowds and loud cheers, the guillotine, a cold, eternal, icy wasteland, and Tommy's kindness. Now, the problem with that is Wilbur has gained these memories while he's been revived. Right at the beginning, he didn't remember a lot of things. In the stream is very recently after Wilbur's revival, he didn't recognize who Friend was. It took him a minute to figure out who Rambu was, things like that. These memories of Ghostbur started coming to him, which in this sense makes sense as to why Ghostbur would be forgetting them, because as he forgot these memories that he made, Wilbur would be retaining them. However, Ghostbur didn't possess any of Wilbur's memories, and I think that's important to point out because Ghostbur is a part of Wilbur, and so Wilbur in Limbo is only half of Wilbur revived. Same thing with Ghostbur. Ghostbur is only a portion of revived Wilbur. Therefore, Ghostbur shouldn't exist if Wilbur has been revived. They are two halves of the same whole. This can be further explained by the way Rambu explains his Limbo, because we have Ghostbu and Rambu, who's in Limbo, and they're a split of the mind and the soul. Again, it's going to be wishy-washy with everybody's Limbo, but you kind of have to try and find some common thread here. Obviously, within the Dream SMP lore, not a lot of things make sense, but if we're going on the fact that a soul is split when it becomes a ghost, that means when revival happens, the soul has to be brought back together, which means both of these things could be true at the same time. Basically, Ghostbur could have been in Limbo from the get-go, but as time goes on, he's probably fading away into nothing because he's being absorbed back into Wilbur, having been now revived, which also is understandable as to why he's slowly losing his memories, slowly losing every bit of him. In the Reddit post, he's now refusing to move. In Limbo, he can't. It's a thing whereas Wilbur is getting stronger by the day, he's remembering more things by the day, and Ghostbur, when he was on the SMP, couldn't remember much, or refused to. Had Ghostbur tried to remember more, maybe Wilbur in Limbo would have faded. We have no idea. But I think it's something worth pointing out because as much as I would love to just keep people on the angst train, I really don't think Ghostbur's stuck in Limbo right now. I think he's slowly fading away into sort of nothingness, but also kind of fading away back into the Wilbur that's revived on the SMP. However, it's nice to think about in the sense that Ghostbur is not suffering in Limbo, but that does mean that Wilbur's most recent lore stream where he sent Friend into Limbo just means he sent Friend into Limbo by themselves. Basically, to summarize, I don't think Ghostbur's stuck in Limbo. I think he's kind of not existing anymore, which may or may not be the better of two options. You let me know what you think down below. And also, Season 2 is coming, and I'm very excited for that. And hopefully when that comes, I'll be able to make a lot more of these videos. Speaking of which, should I make more of these videos? Let me know down in the comments below. Let me know what you think, your predictions for Season 2, because I will for sure be making a ton of theory videos on that. I've actually made a couple on my TikTok already, so go check those out maybe. Let me know your thoughts about Ghostbur, if you think there's any other plot holes through the SMP that could be potentially explained or found out. Just let me know your general thoughts. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!